Tung, you have had a lot of experience in the corporate innovation space and also the startup space. What have you seen change over the years?
I think probably the most important thing that I've seen over the last couple of years is the level of maturity that I'm seeing in corporates. If I rewind just 5 or 6 years ago, I see an awful lot of what I call jazz hands innovation, and I can see yourself smile. So, this is where corporates spend an awful lot of money like sponsoring like startup events and do things that don't necessarily generate an outcome for the business, doesn't actually generate value. And more increasingly over the last 12 to 24 months, I'm seeing organisations that are building new businesses, launching new products, getting things into market within a relatively short period of time with a really good market fit where they're seeing value. That's probably the biggest shift that I've seen in the last 5, 6 years.
So what would you say the critical success factors are for digital transformation delivery?
Yep. So the first thing probably would be executive support and sponsorship. When you think about the amount of time and energy that gets absorbed into BAU, unless you nurture and support innovation programs, unfortunately, they get left by the wayside. So that's really important. The second thing is probably making sure that the people who are running and leading the innovation programs are experienced. I mean, you wouldn't have someone who doesn't have a lot of experience with finance becoming your financial controller. You wouldn't have someone who's never coded before become your engineer. And yet quite often, because innovation is one of the most abused words in the business language, it's kind of like strategy. Everybody thinks that they know what innovation is, but they've never done it themselves personally. They may not have launched a new business, launched a new product, and yet we're entrusting people within our organisations to be able to run that. So I think quite often it's quite helpful in finding talented people who've had that sort of experience to help partner with organisations to deliver those innovation programs. I think the third thing is culture. And the best story that I can think of is Blockbuster, for example. Back in the early 2000s, they had the opportunity to buy Netflix for $50 million, and they said no, which is insane. And then the last time I checked, I think the market capitalization of Netflix was $66 billion, and Blockbuster had filed for bankruptcy. And it was the culture that held them back from seeing those opportunities. And in my mind, there are some organizations where culture is a real strength, and in others, that culture really holds them back.
Okay, so let's talk about achieving product market fit. This is challenging for most startups. How can corporates do it? What are they doing?
This is a subject that's really near and dear to my heart, and to be honest with you, this is challenging for all organisations, not just startups, not just corporates. I've worked in organisations where we spent $20 million building a product, launching it into the market because a general manager had an idea and they thought it was an amazing idea, and there were no customers who actually used that product. And then for the next 5 years, we spent another $20 million with marketing and sales and support, and it was just absolutely insane. Are they humble enough to know that they're not the person that has the single answer, and they're constantly listening to the market, constantly listening to the consumers to find out what the pain points are so they can solve those problems? They're not trying to solve problems that they think the market wants or they themselves have.
Yeah. Should corporates be hiring internally?
Yep.
Or engaging with external companies to help them with the innovation projects? And what is the best model of engagement that you've seen?
Yeah. So I've worked on probably 20 or so corporate types of ventures. The most successful model that I've seen is a hybrid model where you take frustrated but talented people within the organisation who are dissatisfied with the status quo and they want to affect change and they want to make an impact. You take them out of the bureaucratic culture that you've got and you create an environment where they can actually affect that change. And then what you do is you partner them with people with experience and skills who've actually done this before, who've built businesses, who've launched products, to basically give them the necessary skills to do their job, but they help navigate the organisation. That's the hybrid model is the best one that I've come across.
Yeah. Where do you think Prismatic adds the most value for their customers?
Yeah, I think that Prismatic adds the most value for organisations that are starting to become more mature in the innovation program, when they're starting to move away from the trappings of appearing to be innovative and actually where they want to see real tangible outcomes. And what I mean by that is they actually want to build new products, build new businesses and have them in market within a reasonable time frame so they can actually start extracting value from those innovation programs. I think that's where Prismatic adds the most value.